Well, you're in luck because I will tell you what that is. So, yay you. Uh, when the theater department has a show that's about to perform, we are going to do it this Thursday through Saturday, by the way, a shameless plug, March 14th through 17th. And Wednesday is a $5 ticket entry to our final dress rehearsal. So if you would like to see that, that's March 13th. So we are given a day in chapel, and we are to show a sneak preview of the show. It can be a scene, a musical number, or even a talkback session over show themes. So obviously it's not a musical this year. If it was, I don't know how that would work with this show, but it'd be great. If you don't know anything about it, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. So here's my brief synopsis of the show, and by brief, it's probably longer than you want for brief. So Harvey, a play written by Mary Chase, tells a story of Elwood P. Dowd, played by Timothy Ulrich, and his invisible best friend Harvey, a 6-foot-tall rabbit. Elwood is considered the town eccentric for introducing Harvey to everyone he meets. After their mother's death, Elwood's sister Vida, played by Katie Scheiferick, I cannot say that name, and her daughter, Myrtle May, played by Vanessa Hagler, move into the Dowd family home. Vida and Myrtle are eager to find a husband for Myrtle to secure her future. The play begins with an afternoon tea party hosted by Vida, which is disrupted when Elwood introduces Harvey to a family friend, Miss Ethel Chauvigny, played by Patty Shockley. The tea party ends disastrously, and Vida and Myrtle decide to commit Elwood to Chumley's Rest, a nearby sanitarium run by Dr. Chumley, played by Caleb Stevens. However, a mistake happens when Dr. Chumley's assistant, Dr. Sanderson, played by Josh Zoschke, admits the wrong patient, leading to chaos and the doctors attempt to rectify the situation. The play features an entertaining cast of characters, including Judge Murray Gaffney, who is the Dowd family lawyer, played by Emily Hilton, Dr. Chumley's loyal staff, Nurse Ruth Kelly, played by Aurora Glidewell, and Dwayne Wilson, played by Nicholas Elkins, Miss Johnson, the maid of the Dowd household, and also played by Emily Hilton, and the good-natured Mrs. Betty Chumley, played by Patty Shockley, and the impatient cabbie, E.J. Lofgren, making his stage debut, Dr. Teddy Bittner. So, yes, right? So, if anything, just come to see him on stage. So, there you go. So the characters add to the comedy as they navigate through this hilarious misfortune, and all while trying to answer the main question: is Harvey real or just a figment of Elwood's imagination? The first scene takes place in the Dowd family estate and is a telephone conversation between Elwood, a potential new friend, and Harvey. Over to Tim.
Come on. I've picked this especially for you, my friend. I know how much you enjoy floral patterns. Excuse me, Harvey. I must answer the phone, but please, make yourself comfortable. Hello? No, I'm sorry, you have the wrong number. But who are you anyway? This is Elwood P. Dowd speaking. I'll do. Why, thank you. What's your name, my dear? Miss Elise Greenwald. Harvey, it's a Miss Elise Greenwald. How are you today, Mrs. Greenwald? That's fine, my dear. Yes, I would love to join your club. I belong to several clubs now. The University Club, the Pinnacle Club, and down at the 4th Avenue Firehouse, and the Country Club, yes. The one I always end up forgetting. I spent a great deal of my time at that 4th Avenue Firehouse, or over at Chip Chase's bar, or Clark's Place. And what's your club, my dear? Harvey, I get the Ladies' Home Journal, Good Housekeeping, and the Open Road for Boys for $6.25 and for 2 years. It sounds fine to me. I'll join it. How does it sound to you, Harvey? All right. Harvey says it sounds fine to him, too. He says he will also join. Yes, that's right. 2 subscriptions. Mail everything to this address. I do hope I have the opportunity to meet you sometime, my dear. Harvey, she says she would like to meet me. When? When would you like to meet me, my dear? Why not now? My sister seems to be having a few friends over, and we would consider it an honor if you would join us. My sister will be delighted. 343 Temple Drive. I hope to see you in a very few minutes. Goodbye. She's coming right over. Harvey, don't you think we ought to freshen up a bit? So do I.
Okay, wasn't that fun? In this scene in particular, you get a slight glimpse into the life of Elwood P. Dowd. He's a good-natured, sweet, and caring individual, and he sees every opportunity to talk to someone as an opportunity to make more friends and to introduce them to his best friend, which is Harvey, in case you didn't get that by the title of the show. He even tells his sister that one can never have too many friends. Elwood has a childlike quality to his character. As I mentioned, he sees the good in everyone and wants to be their friend. He shows others that it is okay to be themselves and put others' needs before his. He is a loyal friend and brother no matter what Vida does or says to him. Honestly, we can make many biblical comparisons if we are creative enough. For instance, Harvey is like our relationship with God. Don't throw stones, please. I'm not done yet. We cannot see him, but we know that he is there. We can see him at work in our lives. While clearly, as I said, Harvey is not a god or anything, but it's the childlike faith that Elwood has. It's that same kind of faith we emulate with our walk with God. So there you go. You can put the stones away now. So before we continue with our next scene, I have to thank Becky Bittner and Emily Hilton for all of this lovely dramaturgy I'm about to give you. For those of you not up to snuff with your theater terms, dramaturgy is what? I'm going to pick on people. Julie, what is dramaturgy? Yes, that's it. Basically, like all the histories and stuff. Or Merriam-Webster gives it, she says, well, I don't know, is a dramatic, it's a study of a dramatic composition and the representation of the main elements of drama on the stage. So thank you, Merriam-Webster and Julie. So good job. After seeing the previous short scene, you might be wondering, what in the world inspired Mary Chase to write a story about a man who sees an invisible rabbit? Mary Chase was inspired to write Harvey from her widowed neighbor who had lost her son in World War II. She enjoyed writing plays which made people laugh and wanted to write something that would make her heartbroken neighbor laugh as well. She was also inspired from a dream in which a psychiatrist was chased by a large white rabbit. The dream reminded her of stories of Irish pukas from her childhood. It took Chase 2 years and 50 rewrites, then an additional 18 rewrites after sending it to Broadway. So if you're an aspiring writer out there, never fear. Even the best of them, they took a long time to do it. So she's got a little ways to go. The play opened on Broadway November 1st, 1944, and completed a lot of shows, over 1,000, so 1,775 performances in 4.5 years, making it the 35th longest running show and the 6th longest running play in Broadway history. It moved to Prince of Wales Theatre, then to Piccadilly Theatre, before closing on July 1st, 1950. James Stewart and Helen Hayes started a revival of Harvey at the A&T Theatre from February to May of 1970. James Stewart also appeared in a West End revival of the show in 1975 with Mona Washburn. I know these are names you're probably like, who the heck is that? But James Stewart, or Jimmy Stewart, as most people know from It's a Wonderful Life, that's who that character is. And Chase wrote the screenplay for the movie, which, surprise, surprise, Jimmy Stewart was in that as well, and he reprised his role of Elwood P. Dowd. A little interesting fact about the original production is that during a tour, a producer had an actor wear a rabbit suit on stage, However, it ruined the effect of the play, and Harvey never appeared on stage again except through imagination. Harvey has continued to be produced on stages around the world to bring the spirit of the Irish puka to life. Now I'm going to invite our very own cabbie, Dr. Bittner, to share a bit about the 1940s with you.
So Mary Chase got the Pulitzer Prize as well, didn't she, for this?
She did.
Yep.
I had to cut it down a little bit. It was very long.
Okay. So the play was first produced in 1944 on Broadway. And so we're going to talk about 1944 really briefly. Next slide. And you can't read that, can you? So background to this is the United States is entering its second year of World War II at the beginning of 1944, well before the play was actually run. Britain had been in the war already since 1939, so they're in the fourth year of World War II. And it's really telling. So World War II is the backdrop, the background to this whole thing. The use of taxis is used in Harvey over and over again because there are rations on the use of gasoline and tires. So people aren't driving their personal vehicles, they're relying on other means. In this case, in a small town like this, there's no public transportation, so they're using taxis. So there's a lot of taxi cabs involved. 9% of the U.S. population, and 24% of the, 9% of the U.S. population, 24% of the American men served in uniform in World War II. And between the people who are the ages, men ages between 20 and 49, 52.8% of them were in uniform during the war. That is an incredible amount of people, especially in that age group, which is the working age group in that era, who are gone in uniform. Again, backdrop to the situation in World War II. So I've already revealed the best motion picture. I was going to ask you if you knew what it was. Casablanca. For 1944. The best actor was Paul Lucas for Watch on the Rhine. Next. The best actress that year was Jennifer Jones, The Song of Bernadette. Of course, Casablanca and Watch on the Rhine are both World War II movies. The Bernadette thing was not. Next. Price of gasoline was 21 cents a gallon. Don't you wish those days would come back? But in today's dollars, it's $3.47, so I guess it's fairly close. Next, the price of a loaf of bread was 9 cents. Next, the price of Coca-Cola, the bottle of Coca-Cola, that was smaller though, was 5 cents. Next, the price of college at University of Pennsylvania was $530 for room and board and $200 for tuition. Does anyone know what the price of tuition was at Calvary back in those days? Any guesses? You wish. Okay, go ahead. It was $48 a year. That's actually $45 for tuition and $3 for registration fee, and $252 for room and board for the year. Then the U.S. Department of Education happened. Next. Okay, so during the war itself, some major events that occurred in 1944. So first, in Europe, we have the invasion of Anzio in January, and then the fall of Rome in June of 1944 to the Allies. The D-Day landings in Normandy in June the 6th, 1944, and then the invasion of southern France in August of 1944, and then the Battle of the Bulge started in December and ran through January of 1944. Next. In the Pacific, we have the island hopping campaign where we're bypassing Japanese-held islands to pick ones that we want to use and to ignore the rest of them. That's going on. We have the Battle of the Philippine Sea, which included the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. If you're interested in learning more about that, you can see me later. Return to the Philippines by Douglas MacArthur, and then the Battle of Leyte Gulf, which was the largest naval battle in history, comprising 4 separate battles over a period of a few days. Also, Dwight Bittner, my father, was drafted in 1944 and ended the war as an infantry squad leader in the Easy Company, 163rd Infantry Regiment and made 5 beach landings in the southern Philippines. Next, and that is it for 1944.
And that concludes your brief dramaturgy for today. And now to our final scene, starring Timothy Ulrich and Caleb Stevens. But for your viewing pleasure, it's a video. Just remember that little tune. It's going to come back. So that was a very interesting scene, right? It sheds a light on a character that, as the show progresses, you realize isn't such a nice character. Like, Dr. Chumley isn't very, very kind, which is the complete polar opposite of Elwood, right? So that is just something that is interesting when it comes to literature, that you have those different comparisons, that you may just think all stories should be super nice and smooth and nothing bad ever happens. And if so, then I don't know what part of the Bible you were not reading. So things do happen. But that's just an interesting character. So I really hope you come out and see that. So we have a little bit left. I just said, what is the reason behind choosing Harvey? Everyone asks, like, why do you choose the shows you choose? Like, this one, it was just pretty easy. It was a comedic lineup for us. So, like, we have different scenes, selections for the years, and this one was comedic. And it was a recommendation by Becky back there in the booth. Oh, there she is right there. So it was really cute. I had never seen it before, and I just really liked the storyline behind it. So since it was that, we decided to choose it. So I just said everyone has a family member that is odd. The one that we know is going to cause a stir at the family function or just do something super crazy. You either love them or you hate them. And you whisper amongst your family members, I cannot speak, about what you think they're going to do next. The story of Harvey is endearing. It takes a character that everyone seems to get along with, a black sheep of the family, and it seems that he genuinely cares about getting to know others. And then Mary Chase decides to give him a little quirk. And by little, I mean a 6'3" 1/2" white rabbit. So this story is all about imagination and creativity, as we mentioned several times so far. But how do you portray a rabbit of this size? Do you have someone in a suit? Is it a projection, or is it up to the actor to portray this character by themselves? This story is truly about friendship, loyalty, and just being yourself. Others will love you for you, or they will spend their whole life trying to fix what they think is wrong with you. And I think it has a funny take on Matthew 7, 1-6, where it talks about judging others, lest you be judged. Because what happens when the sister judges Elwood and she ends up being thrown in the psych ward? What happens when Dr. Sanderson judges Elwood? He releases Elwood, and then later Dr. Sanderson was fired. I was like, oh, your comeuppance came pretty fast. So this also talks about different things. It talks, as you've seen, mental health, because he's put in a sanitarium. They are calling Elwood's sanity into question. There are some moments that give a glimpse into this realm of the sanitarium psych wards, and it may seem funny because, yes, it is a lighthearted comedy, but it is also sad because that's some things that people go through on their health journeys. In this show, there's one question that everyone seems to ask. Is Harvey real? Some would say yes, while others say no. And if you look at the stage directions, then yes, it implies it is a yes. He is described as a puka, which is a little sprite or mischievous character that appears as something else. Usually it's as an animal, like most people see it as an animal. The show might leave you questioning whether you have seen Harvey on stage or not. So I hope that little snippet gets you excited to come and join us. As a Calvary student, I will be emailing this out later. You do receive one free ticket to the show. You'll need to show your student ID at the ticket box office so that your name can be marked off the list. This does not apply to the Wednesday night, though. You'd have to pay. Sorry. So with that, I'll leave it open to any questions that you might have. I have several of our cast members here. We have our Dr. Sanderson, Josh Zashki. Tim is back there, right? Trying to see, scoping it out. Okay. And then Dr. Bedner, as I said. So any questions, comments, concerns? Like, what's for lunch? I don't know. Check the chatter. Gosh. Nothing? Adam. Oh, yeah, that's a great question. So Adam asked, there's a lot of names he did not recognize, and that is interesting because we had a couple Calvary students show up, and then I had people like Josh Sushke who like said, "Hey, I have a friend who was interested in theater," and we got Vanessa involved, and then Caleb, who you saw here, you didn't see him live-ish. He invited several of his friends to come out and audition for us. So half of the show is comprised of Calvary members, and the other half is community members. So it makes it really interesting. So you have all different levels of performance and of experience with theater. Cool. It's going to be fun. Anything else? Let's go. No. Okay. Josh, do you have anything? You're like sitting patiently. Cool. Yeah. Great plug. Okay. So, well, if there's nothing else, is it okay if I release people early-ish? Never mind. Tim has a question. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Take a bow, Tanner. Take a bow. No, let us stand up. Take a bow. Yeah. So as we said, it's really hard to make someone on stage who is invisible be someone that you can interact with. So our thought was, well, you need to work with someone, Tim. And the first person I could think of that was like the great height was Tanner. So Tanner, you did great. And Tanner, you'll see the different things that Tim's working on stage, and you'll just